Okay, backup and recovery. Well, when I was a backup administrator, I was using HP Data Protector. Before I used that backup, and then I used HP Data Protector when I changed my job. And the biggest challenging thing was not the cost itself. It's always about the money in the end of the day, but it wasn't the cost. It was to make the report of the weekend backups all green. All green means all policies went well. And within 1 year of work, it happened only once. It doesn't necessarily mean I was a bad backup administrator. It means there's so many complexity and dependencies between all those policies, systems, and the entry of them that made it really impossible to make it all green. That was for one particular reason, among others, the time of a backup. The regular approach is the maintenance window for a backup is 8 to 12 hours, and it's during the night. Might be not enough, given the speed of the tape, even if you go LTO 8 these days. We've decided to follow Gartner advice. So we're forcing people to do this thing as well. I think I'm going to move over there. We're going to do disk to disk, perhaps to tape, or maybe again to disk backup only. That's what we would ask, given that ONTAP is providing you snapshots, replication, integrations to other software. And that's going to be the nature of our backup. Because by 2018, more people will find out that's the best way to do it. And that's the way we want to maintain it. Let's skip the challenges. Can you tell me your challenges with backup? You got a card. You need to tell me one. Or this one. What's your biggest challenge? Are you actually backing up data, or are you selling solutions?
We are making backups of data. The biggest challenge probably is the selecting which data it has to be backed up, and which it's unusable or it's not important too much to.
That actually brings us to a different point. In IT, the most important thing, and actually the single important thing, is not the data center, not the rack, not the server, not the hardware, not the person, nothing. It's the data itself. Everything else is transparent because it serves the data. So it's the data that's crucial. So selecting data is mostly important. I'm going to skip it because, like I told you, we're changing the nature of the presentation because of that. Okay, any other? Do you have a multi-million file volumes, for example, on your home shares or whatever? Okay, there are several other challenges, but let's stick to the nature of data then. When I was this kind of an admin, I was using tape, like I said. There was absolutely no storage integration pseudo with this software. Backup to tape. Do you still use tape? Not anymore. Do you have regulations that make you use tape? For example, well, financial data to be stored 5 years, 7 years in a safe place. Then it's cost twice to store it on tape. It's cheaper than disks, right? But the single case I can imagine now. There's no other to use tape library, in my opinion. So, evolving from tape, people realize that tape is not effective, but the old habits remain. Purpose-built backup appliance is a romantic story of NetApp almost buying a product, which became our competition's flag product in the short term. Luckily, until now, we've been able to develop our own product that is also capable of so good the duplication rate for backup, like they did. But these days, everybody catches up with data domain. So, build backup appliance is also the thing you might think of in an environment. But it would be good to do a backup on the level of your storage. We're creating data management solutions, so we want the storage to do it. As much as possible functions on the storage level. Incremental forever. If you ever use Snap Mirror on netapp, that's the way we do it. Block level, incremental forever. So in other words, for me, it would mean the Sunday, the critical day for full backup. And full every week means full, means the longest backup window of the whole week. Meant to me that even though I'm choosing the full backup, it would be incremental in the background. That's the way Snap Mirror works, and we're going to do it very soon. Fourth generation snapshot based, and that's what's happening now. 2020. Have you noticed there is a trend with IT vendors speaking about 2020? Each and every vendor now has a speaker that's talking about it, how IT is going to look like at this point, because it's very enthusiasm creating speech. I'm doing it from time to time, but I want to focus on now, here and now. Snapshot itself. Intel Snap on Commvault, Veeam, our beloved partner at the Expo booth, any other backup software, even NetBackup with its open systems backup, etc. They are all utilizing backup on the storage level. They are all starting to become aware that that's the way to act. So these are the present times. There were 2012 to 2016, that's very interesting. That's the scope of solutions you get with netapp FAS. Because we're not talking serious is a block storage, no features for backup included. Well, we have snapshots and replication, but they are not that romantic and effective. So we're talking FAS over here. This is a secret of our success as well, because we're the best in protecting data, and I want to underline that. So whenever you think of moving into a storage or capacity required for application, and you know your data is critical, and you back it up, you put it on FAS. Okay, several features, snapshot copies, unique. Anybody not aware with FAS and all that and snapshot? No, so I'm going to skip the fundamentals at this point. What's interesting here is it's all block level. Regardless of the amount of files, regardless of the capacity, it works on the same manner. And you don't license it in terms of capacity. If you get a snapshot, SnapVault, SnapRestore, SnapMirror license, it works for the whole system. I just got the tender yesterday asking for at least 175 terabytes of replicating data and copying data available. It means all the vendors do it by capacity. We never do. So it's price-wise effective over here. We do it asynchronously for cluster, and we do it synchronously with Metro cluster, and it's going to be mentioned later on. I'm not going to skip it. And we do it incremental-wise in terms of SnapVault. It means the traditional approach to backup at this point. So incrementals being installed one by one at the destination system. That's the difference to SnapMirror, which just replicates the volume one-to-one. No changes provided on the way. Okay, snapshot itself, minimal impact. It's not copy on first write, so we can. It's a block of pointers, an array of pointers. So it's a table of pointers as well. So no CPU engaged, no memory engaged. For this reason, we can do 255 per volume, and we have 1,000 volumes per array. The math is very simple over here. How many copies of data we can secure on our system? Number of backups, like I said, if you migrate the backup automatically, and it can happen automatically to another system, you increase the amount of available backups by 2. Because the other system can store this 1,255 times 1,000, and you can use the primary system to keep as many copies as you like. The time, believe it or not, I've been to a presentation done by a customer using snapshots for NAS backup. And he showed an email from an IT guy, actually business guy, writing to an IT, saying, you made the backup so fast that our procedures don't apply. You're creating problems to us. They had to rewrite their procedures because they were too fast in restoring data. And tab guys are not doing backup, but the real tab guys are trying their restores from time to time. Scenario, at least. it's usually more difficult to do a restore than to create efficient backup. And storage efficiency everywhere, it would be really nice to preserve storage efficiency while doing snapshot and replication. And that's what we are actually doing as well. So not only efficient backup and DR, but we are preserving the data space savings. Very important as well. And you shouldn't be scared to duplicate your production data anymore, because it creates the opportunity to improve the performance of this data because of SSD technologies, but I think I mentioned it yesterday and today on the other session. Right, cascading. Since you can mirror the data, it's always nice to do something else with it. Why? This system, well, great. Cheap SATA disks, but what it is doing, it's only storing data from backups. So the performance of these controllers is not saturated. It's laying around. It's a waste. What I'm always saying to the partners especially, but for you it's even more important because it's your money that fund our business. If you cannot talk technology to your IT manager or to your finance controller, talk money savings to them. Because with netapp technology you are able to reduce, let's say, by 50% the money you spend on business continuity scenarios. How? If this array is storing your backup or disaster recovery, it's DR, and it's a different budget, right? It's a single budget for DR, because we need to have this data secure. One budget. Second budget, usually, even if IT is a necessary evil in your company, it's a test and development thing. You have several people testing, patching, copying, verifying, validating, etc. They all require the workstations, access to systems, and usually it's not the best practice to do this testing on production systems, right? So you need to copy them. Why not use the systems already backed up? Why copy them again? No reason for that. They're already here. And this array has a lot of performance to provide. Secondly, test and dev people, there's more than one usually. And each of them requires one system. So we need clones. But cloning on a regular basis, like on VMware example, is just copying one-to-one. And that's, again, not capacity-wise. I had this issue before when I was administering SAP systems. Sub-developers are crazy. They could patch and test undone copies every day. That's what they're crazy about. So it would mean to me, as a storage administrator, to copy, for example, half terabyte database for each and every developer. I had to search for a space, I had to copy it, I had to provide it. It would take me 2 days of work. With FlexClone volumes on FAS, I reduced the time to 5 minutes. And VMware is a very good example. Imagine you have 200 gig virtual machine with your database. And the developer comes over to you and asks you for a copy because he needs to do patching. Perfectly no, he's going to use 10 gigs. Not more than that. So what you do, you put up FlexClone technology on NetApp. We're using snapshots, the pointers, to point to a production system and create virtual image of it. So guess what? 200 virtual machine clone will take 2 kilobytes. Because that's the amount the pointers take. Now, since it's only 2 kilobytes, why resist of temptation to create another copy? So we create 20 virtual machines, the same ones. And they take 2 kilobytes. That's it. And all you need in terms of space and capacity is 10 gigs for the test and clone. Test and dev is a different budget. Different people, different purpose. DR is a different budget. Different people, different purpose. Same system, same money, one budget and price of another. 2, the price of 1. That's the way we save money. Right, Metro cluster. SnapMirror is asynchronous. It means minimum interval to replicate your data is 1 minute. It might be not enough. You might want to have the data secured every second. With every transaction, it needs to be secured. That's called recovery point objective of 0. And there is business that's paying for it. It requires appropriate solution. With netapp, it's called netapp metro cluster. It enables us to create a connection between two fast arrays using fiber channel or IP, Ethernet, up to a 500 meters distance if we are using short connections using the cables directly, 500 meters, or 300 kilometers, 300 these days, using dedicated switches, using fiber channel or IP, Ethernet network. What happens with such solution is they can work both ways. Each controller is accepting writes and reads, but the host will acknowledge the write only when it's written on both sides. And we are replicating using fiber channel underneath. So we are not replicating the file, we are replicating the map of cache. The fastest way to do it, because these are only blocks going through fiber channel from array to another. I had an example where the customer was using FileNet application, 7 terabytes, not a big deal, and 7 million files. And they were replicating synchronously using SnapMirror to another site. It was fun. The replication was fun, but suddenly they had to resynchronize because of the collapse. How long for 7 million files do you think the resynchronization took? Guess?
1 day?
22 hours. Comparing file by file. We migrated to Metro cluster and resynchronization reduced itself to 2 minutes. Because it was only block. It didn't give a damn about the files and the amount of them. It was just a map of blocks for resynchronization. That's it. Romantic story behind it is with VMware. With such solution and with VMware fault tolerance, you can actually enable your environment not to notice the disruption. If the whole site over here goes away, or the server itself, VMware will switch over to the same data available over here. And we're not losing a single transaction. Because the transaction that has not been acknowledged didn't happen. The application will say, it didn't happen, I need to restart it. That's a very good news. Given the fault tolerance is automatic, and we have a tiebreaker, so a third-party agent automatically switching the cluster from one to another, it can be fully automated RPO equals 0 solution for the business. And it's worth investing. I'm replacing Jacek Juha's shoes here at this Congress, and this guy is absolutely crazy insane metro cluster. So we have dozens of good references and implementation references, because it's not a complex environment, trust me. I've installed myself with those very hands, a few of those. These are very straightforward and simple to maintain solutions. But they're very romantic, and Jacek can give you several references on it. Together with Pans, because Pans is sales, so he sold it as well, sorry not to mention it at the very beginning. All right, concluding snapshots. Snapshots themselves are cool, but they're happening on the storage level. In other words, it means if you're taking a snapshot and restoring it on the storage level, application doesn't know anything about it because it's a different level. We are aware of that. You might want to have a consistent restore, obviously backup before, but consistent restore of your application. So we created a bunch of software that talks simultaneously to your application and to our storage. What happens is, you create a backup using this piece of software, either SnapCenter or SnapManager. What they do is, tell the application, I'm going to backup you. Application says, fine, I'm putting myself into home backup mode then. Then, when the application is called backup mode, Snap Manager says, hey, fast, application is ready, take a snapshot. All right, I've done it. Okay, application, you're done. Okay, I'm moving back to a normal operation manner. The whole information about this process is stored with Snap Manager. Here in the example of Oracle, my favorite, now you are able to restore the data to a certain point of time, to a certain transaction, to a certain transaction ID, or you can clone it. Snap Manager will take care of a restore, of a clone, of a recovery. So what you're going to get is your application up and running at the exact time of the backup. With VMware, it means 20, for example, clones of your virtual machine up and running automatically in vCenter. For Oracle, it means a database mounted wherever you want it, at the exact same state when the backup happened, but it's online and available. There's no time for recovery, adoption, restoration anymore. So it shortens the time. And my experience is it doesn't take more than 2.5 minutes to restore or clone an Oracle database. And it applies to each and every application Snap Manager works with. And it's my MS SQL, Exchange, SharePoint, Oracle, and VMware. Same conditions apply. If you're going more exotic like DB2, Sybase, MySQL, etc., you're using Snap Creator. That's a different story, but exactly the same rules. But this thing works like this way. I mentioned several applications. Don't be afraid, it doesn't mean several installations of Snap Manager anymore. Snap Center, as the name suggests, will be a single server to integrate all those applications at one backup engine. So if only you can make up your mind to deal with backup of your environment at the storage level, from the storage administrator point of view, that's the solution for you. And it goes, obviously, with first down license with each and every FAS. All such FAS, did I say that, has all licenses included. It's good to go for SSD for another reason. Okay, and 2 slides mentioning our partners. We are now reselling IntelliSnap license with every FAS, if you want to. You can buy a license from us, install a Commvault server from Commvault. Don't pay them for the license anymore, you're buying it from us. And use snapshots from a Commvault server. Why might you want to do that? Because not everything might be on FAS in your environment. So from Commvault, you're getting another modules, heterogeneous modules, to back up anything else on Commvault methods, and you're using FAS methods to back up, replicate, restore, whatever you have on FAS. And trust me, it's performance and price-wise, because with IntelliSnap you can attach tape libraries directly to a FAS box. And with regular backup application, you're paying for the tape drives, for the amount of tape drives. With IntelliSnap, you're unlimited with tape drives. You're not paying twice for the same thing. And the same thing happens for Veeam. This is an example of creating snapshot of VMware, 1 hour of creating deltas on an LS6 server. So it means 1 hour of degraded performance because the CPU is engaged in deltas. With Veeam, you can create a policy for netapp, specifically for netapp, and it has one checkbox checked by default. Use netapp storage efficiency. It means it will use snapshot underneath, snap mirror, or snap vault. And you will use the third-party application, which also integrates with different environments for you. There's a guy named Corbin Popescu at Veeam booth. He used to work for NetApp. And now he's working for Veeam, so he knows the bits and pieces for both sides. Go and ask him a question. Really, Veeam is a very good story, and I was told they grow very much in Eastern Europe for a reason. The newest version is really technically capable of dealing with bigger sort of solutions than it was before. Okay, as I promised, I made it a bit shorter. Everything I said might be a bit chaotic and might be not very put well into a method, but my underlying point was all those methods, all those techniques, all those adoptions, variants, the choice you are making comes from one technology, from one operating system, ONTAP, which goes with FAS. So, RTO equals 0, ONTAP and FAS. Replication, synchronous or asynchronous for DR, snap mirror on ONTAP and FAS. Clone for dev and testing, ONTAP and FAS. Snap vault for backup and recovery, another option of using snap mirror. Remote office for virtual ONTAP. It says edge over here. It's going to be software ONTAP select very soon on cloud providers, on hypervisors, on external physical servers as well. All virtualized ONTAP with exactly the same features that can be put anywhere you like it. So as if you had FAS anywhere you like it. It's all one technology. That's what's unique about us. A freedom of choice. Whichever method you use, I believe we can adopt to it. Virtually or physically, or both. And you can rely on us. Make a long story short. Any questions? Anything you think of that ONTAP might not do for your backup? Don't be shy. Great, everything's possible. Does this conference last until tomorrow?
Yeah, today. No.
Enjoy your way back home. I will. I'll take a nap. Cheers.
Thank you.